Are Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs in trouble as it relates to wide receiver recruiting? That is the big question, and that's what this video is all about. And I'm going to be honest with y'all, like I try to do every video, things are not ideal. They've got a lot of work to do as it relates to wide receiver in this 2022 class. If you're on Dog Post or saw the news earlier today, my guy Kojo Antwi, four-star wide receiver from Lambert High School right down the street from me, chose Ohio State over Georgia, Alabama, Texas A&M, and a few others. And that's a big deal because he was a major Georgia target and has been for close to a year now. So not so great news there. The Bulldogs do have one commitment already in the 22 class to Nylon Morset. Solid four-star kid out of North Cobb, but this is a class where I thought they would really try to load up on receivers. Not a ton of great in-state receivers. You've got Denylon, you've got Kojo Antwi, Travis Hunter, easy five-star. He's more of an athlete. He's going to Florida State. They don't really have a shot with him anymore, but it's not great overall in-state, so I knew they were going to have to go out of state a good bit, but a lot of guys just are not available, especially when you look at, the top 10 wide receivers in the country. Georgia's not going to get one of those guys. And ideally, they were going to try to get one or two in this class because, remember, last year they only took two wide receivers. Adonai Mitchell, who I do think is going to play quite a bit, maybe sooner than expected this year as a freshman, and Jackson Meeks, a three-star from Alabama, who I'm not sure when we're going to see him. And I get that, even though Brock Vandegrift is on board, five-star from that 21 class. They only signed two because they took five in the 2020 class. So not surprised at all that they just took two last year, but that means that they should probably be taking a good bit and as many talented guys as they can in this class. And there's no doubt they are struggling a little bit there. Of course, Morset's a solid four-star guy, but every time these kids go to four different high schools in 4 years, I'm not sure how many years they're going to be in college before they hit that transfer portal if they're not getting the touches they want. So that's just something that runs through my mind. And again, Kojo was a big target. There's no doubt about that. The guy's athletic, explosive, has great hands. I saw him in person last year. Got some great clips of him that now I can't use because he's not going to Georgia. But he's a guy they wanted and a guy who took an official visit to Georgia the first week of June, and they didn't get him. So there's still a few guys left on the board, but they're not going to be top 10 wide receivers in the country. You're not going to get a George Pickens in this class that I know of. Probably not going to get a Jermaine Burton, Don Blaylock type in this class. But, we'll see. Maybe some of these guys kind of outplay their current ranking and have an impact at Georgia. So a few of those guys, one of them, Shalik Knotts from North Carolina, solid four-star guy, about 6'1", probably 180 pounds. He's got some explosiveness to him, reliable hands. He's a guy that Georgia hosted in June for a visit, and he's a guy that I think they like. And he's down to like Georgia and Maryland and I think some other ACC schools. Georgia is his biggest offer, and if they don't land him, because I think they are pushing for him. He's a guy that I think they would love to add on board with open arms, especially right now. So if this kid picks Maryland or someone else over Georgia, then they probably are in big trouble at that point. Andre Green is another guy, 6'3", 180 pounds out of Virginia. I think they're in an excellent position for him. There is a story up on Dog Post that I wrote about a week ago. He gave me a whole bunch of quotes about what he likes about Georgia, what he likes about Cortez Hankton. And basically his big quote was, "Family is everything." And he told me that Cortez made him and his family feel really, really well and welcome in Athens. So he kind of told me that, Coach Hankton made me feel like family is important, because it is. So they're definitely playing that family spot up with Andre Green Jr., who is a guy they can put on the outside. He's long, athletic. He can match up against those bigger DBs. So he's got some link to him that you can't teach. You can teach him how to run routes and teach them to have more consistent hands if that's an issue, but you can't teach size and you can't teach length. You can add weight on guys, but his wingspan and his ability to go up and snatch the football out of the air is stuff that a lot of kids just can't do because they don't have the physical traits. Andre Green Jr., who right now I would say Georgia leads for over North Carolina and a few other schools. We'll see if Clemson starts to really push for him. I'm not sure that they are. If they do, Georgia might be in big trouble with him as well, but he's a guy to definitely know. And Again, they're going to keep having to go out of state, and these are two out of state guys I think Georgia fans should have a close eye on. Luther Burden is an Oklahoma commitment. Big time kid, former 5-star. I think he's dropped a little bit in the rankings recently. He was in Athens towards the end of June, and I wrote a story about him as well. He loves the staff over there, but it's tough to get kids away from Oklahoma right now, the way they're throwing the ball. And again, I don't blame Kojo Antwi one bit for choosing Ohio State. They produce receivers. They get their receivers the ball. Each and every year, they've got guys going over 1,000 yards. That's what Georgia needs to do. They've had 1,000-yard receiver in school history. It was Terrence Edwards back in 2002. I think he had like 1,008 yards. Dude barely made it. Now, A.J. Green, probably the most talented receiver Georgia's ever had. Of course, he had the suspension in 2010, I believe. If that weren't to happen, he would have gone over that 1,000-yard mark. George Pickens probably would have gone over the 1,000-yard mark this year, but he's got the torn ACL, so he's not going to be able to do that either. But eventually, and maybe it starts this year, but Georgia's going to have to sling that ball around and show receivers that, hey, we can get multiple guys close to or over 1,000 yards. We can get this, we can get guys 10 touchdowns from the receiver position. Maybe that happens this year with JT Daniels, Todd Monken, and all those guys, but with the talent and depth that they have, I'm still not sure it's going to happen, because it might not happen if everyone gets the ball as much as they want. Again, they have so many weapons, there's only one football. So if everyone is touching the ball, it's going to be hard for them to, get multiple guys over that, big time 1,000-yard mark, especially when you got four backs who have proven that they can run the ball effectively. So we'll see if this is the year, but eventually Georgia's going to have to prove to some of these guys that, hey, you can stay in state and have a monster career here at Georgia. You don't have to go to Ohio State. You don't have to go to Alabama, Oklahoma, even Clemson at times. So either way, they're going to have, they've got some work to do. They've got some work cut out for them. Wide receiver in this 22 class. Only one on board right now. I still think they need to probably take like 3 more. Maybe they settle and just take 2 more, but at the end of the day, I do think they're struggling a little bit right now there, but it's nothing to make a giant deal about. But as well as Georgia recruits, you don't see stuff like this happen too often at a position group. But big loss today as Kojo Antwi goes to Ohio State. Y'all, thanks for watching this video. I'm going to be writing much more about this over on Dog Post, so make sure you check that out. Thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned to the next one coming up right now, and I will see you over on the website.